Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Meet Menaca, episode 53, Dowry, Still a Norm. This show is there to celebrate you. And today we are going to be speaking about another topic, which is really, really close to my heart. And I think it's important for each and every one of us, particularly if you belong to the South Asian community. And I'm sure it is there in one form or the other in other parts of the world, but this is the area I definitely know it exists. Next week, same time, same place, we will be celebrating the completion of 1 year of the talk show, Meet Menaca, because this show is all about celebrating you. So we will be giving opportunity for people who have been in our community to perform something, to speak about something, what matters to them, and also to be able to celebrate each other together as a community. So I cannot wait for next week to do that together. So going back to today's show, it is going to be Dowry, Still a Norm. It is with Suja Koreira. She has been a solicitor for a while. She's practicing in the area of immigration, nationality, and human rights. She's a former linguist, became a public service interpreter at the age of 19, worked as an interpreter with various public service organizations from Home Office, police forces, courts, social services, and the NHS. Involved in charitable activities, she enjoys keeping fit and exploring the world of food and love traveling. During this time, as an interpreter from the age of 19, she's worked with many victims of domestic violence and issues relating to dowry. She also has an opportunity to interpret for the abusers and people who are on the opposite side of it. So giving her the opportunity to see why these abusers think it's okay to do whatever they are doing. So a very warm welcome to you, Suja. And I cannot think of someone better to come and talk about this.
Thank you very much, Menaca. Thanks for having me once again, regardless of all the issues we had the previous time I attended.
You know, you were a strong speaker. For people who don't know, we spoke about is living together still a taboo last time, and we had some repercussions. It's okay. You know, sometimes we have to agree to disagree and go forward, and that's what we have done. So thank you so much, Suja, for braving it to come again as a speaker for us.
So, it's a pleasure. It's always good to talk about a topic people don't want to talk about, because those are the topics that are being ignored for the wrong reasons. So I'm happy to be talking about a topic that needs to be spoken about. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Suja. I mean, that's what this show is all about, talking about topics which, you know, is considered as a social stigma. And instead of sweeping on the carpet, we have to speak about it. That's the only way we are going to find solutions together. So I will start saying by, you know, we both agree that relationships are not commercial contracts. And, you know, it is personal to two individuals and their extended families. But definitely, you know, I don't think, I cannot even begin to understand where this dowry has its place in this era. So let me begin asking, what is dowry system and how it has worked in your opinion?
Well, obviously, once you told me about the topic, I was doing a bit of my part of the research. And first place I went to see is the definition of dowry. So I went to the normal place, Oxford Dictionary, which clearly says it is the amount of property or money brought by a bride to her husband at the time of marriage. So I thought, okay, so that's the definition. So it's the bride bringing money to the husband at the time of marriage. So I started looking into the history of it. And believe it or not, this is a concept that existed well before documentation began, well before record keeping began. It's been there for a long time. And anthropologists are saying that this kind of matter, this concept of dowry existed between Japan and Ireland. So the whole of Eurasia, Europe and Asia, it existed. Not just parts of it, everywhere across the globe in a way. However, obviously, time came about, people evolved, people learned to accept that this is not something that is needed. So they've grown out of it. However, it's still existing very much in South Asia and Balkan community, which is Bulgaria, Albania, Slovakia. That's the sort of part of Europe. So it's existing still. It's existed for a very long time. And there was a reason for it, which is, shall I go into that detail, Menaca, for you? Oh,
yeah, of course. By all means, that's the whole point, isn't it?
So the concept of dowry existed because, according to the traditional law or the custom, inheritance of properties went from parents to the son. So the parents ensured at the time of marriage, they gave what's rightfully belonging to the daughter or what's rightfully hers to the daughter, so that she doesn't need to fight her siblings after their death for what's rightfully hers. So in a way, it is what she actually rightfully owned. It is rightfully hers, but it was given at the time of marriage in order to ensure she gets what's rightfully hers. That's all it was. However, now it's become a demand. It's like the groom side demand what they want from the bride side. And they're expecting that. And if it's not there, the marriage or the relationship cannot go ahead. It's not taking place. That relationship is breaking down. So the concept of dowry existed well before time. The concept of dowry was created for the right reason, in order to give daughters what's rightfully theirs. However, with time evolved, with time people evolved, and the concept of dowry started to slow down. People decided it's not necessary. However, some people are still continuing to practice this concept and being practiced for the wrong reason.
Sure. Thank you, Suja. And I think, we will go into it much deeper later, but I think it's not only the one thing, isn't it? Dowry is only one of those things which have lost its purpose and become totally something different. We have
Absolutely.
seen these things happen in different areas of our lives. So, as we both know, and we have spoken about it the last time you were here as well, and the relationship should be based on love and understanding rather than money and status. So what is the focus of, dowry in that relationship, and why are we talking about it today? And what are we going to be focusing today?
Why are we talking about dowry today? Because of the consequences. The consequences of this concept causing in today's community. That's why we are talking about it. Dowry is just a simple matter. It's amount of money or property given to a daughter by their parents. If it's just that, we don't have to talk about it. However, dowry has become the cause of very many serious problems. Let's start with feticide, infanticide, domestic violence, homicide, and suicide. All of these are consequences of dowry, whether we believe it or not. That's the truth. So we have to talk about it. Why feticide? People check the gender of the baby. If it's a girl, oh no, we have to pay for the dowry. I can't afford it. Get rid of it. Why infanticide? Baby is born. It's a girl. Oh no, I can't afford it. Kill the baby. Why domestic violence? Girl gets married and move into the husband's house or living with them. Oh, what you brought is not enough. Domestic violence. Why homicide? Some people can go as far as killing the girl because she didn't bring enough dowry and they can get it better from somewhere else. And why suicide? The depression that caused by this external pressure onto the girl, she goes and kills herself. So these are the consequences of this simple, small concept. So it's no longer a simple, small concept. It's a serious issue. That's why we are talking about it today.
I mean, I really hope people take note of this, what you really said, because it's almost like, cause of all evils. It doesn't just stop with just money and status. It is so much more than that. And I really hope, if nothing else today, they take what you said, these things can happen, as a result of dowry, and hope, they will at least reflect on it, if not change.
I mean, you said they will reflect on it. It's just sad to see they even have to reflect on it. If it is actually cause of the people's life, then why do we even have to consider it? It shouldn't even be like, oh, let's reflect on it and let's think about it. No, you are killing people. It's an offense. It's a murder. Why can't you just accept it? This shouldn't happen in today's era.
Exactly, Suja. To be honest, why are we even in a position to be needing to talk about it? You know, that is the question we all should be asking ourselves. So, you know, if money is involved, would the relationships come with lifetime warranty, isn't it? Because, you know, you said like, okay, fine. Why are we giving dowry? So, okay, fine. We are giving dowry for whatever reason, just to make the safety net for the woman. And I don't think, I can't understand what is the connection between giving what is rightly belonging to the girl, you know, as parents, they are going to give. And what is a safety net for a woman having that dowry? You know, it is beyond me. So as a speaker, I will ask you to try to explain to me, why is it, you know, happening?
Okay, first of all, as I said earlier, the concept of dowry actually gives the daughter what's rightfully hers at the time of marriage. In order, parents don't want children to be fighting amongst each other after their demise for property. So this is an easier concept. They dealt with it. So what's rightfully hers is given. So whatever left is for the sons and they can divide it. So it was a simple concept. And then what people started to think about it is, oh, the more money the daughter gets, they get a better husband. So it's like, I can buy this top from, say, H&M for £10, but if I paid £50, I can buy it from John Lewis. If I paid £100, I can buy it from somewhere else. Or if I paid
Gucci or Prada.
if I paid £1,000, I can buy Gucci or Prada. So it became a brand sale. So the more money parents paid to the girl, she was getting a better husband. Is it actually a better husband? Something that you buy for money, is it actually going to be better just because you paid more money? Let's put it in a commercial context. All our shades that we buy, be it Prada or Gucci, they all produced in Ray-Ban factory. They just give the name to them. So as soon as Prada's name put on the same shades that was produced in Ray-Ban factory, the price goes up. So you're getting exactly the same thing, but you're just paying more money. So I'm just going to connect that to the marriage sale. So a man is there. If he really wants to be in a relationship with a woman, he should be open to accept her, understand her, and find compatibility and enter into a relationship. If he thinks, oh, she's giving me more money, let me marry her, what is the guarantee that he wouldn't go for somebody else who has more money later on? This has become a commercial transaction.
I need to interrupt for 1 second. Yeah. It's not only that. Don't you think so? Like, is someone being there? If we are going to compare to Gucci and Prada and H&M and John Lewis, are we saying that somebody is on sale?
Oh, definitely. I mean, how could we say it otherwise? You are paying money. If I go to the shop and paid money to buy something, it is a sale. It's a sale of transaction. It's a commercial transaction. Just like that, when a girl's being given what rightfully hers, it's not a transaction. When the opposite side demands, oh, in order to marry me, you must bring A, B, C, or X, Y, Z, then that it's a trade agreement. So that is where it becomes a sale. And actually, the good that's on sale is the man. Believe it or not, it is the man who's on sale here. And obviously, it's like a house sale. We go and have a look, and I make one offer. If I like it a bit more, I make a bit more of an offer to beat the other party. So that's what's happening. But at the end of the day, the house is a product that's on sale. So is the man.
Which is really interesting, Suja. The person who is on sale is the one who goes around and chooses the other person.
This is the only difference. The only difference is, well, I wouldn't actually totally agree with that, because if there is a house for sale and it's for 500,000 and I made an offer for 510 purely because I wanted it more, I am still determining the price of that property. The house is not determining its property because I liked it. And then sadly and absolutely disappointing to say, our parents are going out and buying the husband for their children. Rather than finding the right person for their daughters, they're actually buying their husband. Anything that involves money, it's not going to definitely bring happiness. We know that. And yet we are doing that. We were brought up from young age saying money doesn't bring happiness. You've got to have moral values. You have to have this, you have to have that. But later on, when it comes to marriage, let's go buy a good husband for you. So these are the problems happening. If the girl's parents can just give what's rightfully hers and move on, it's a simple matter. However, when the girl's family is demanded and put under pressure to give so much in order so that their daughter can get married, it becomes a commercial transaction. But it is a two-way traffic. A girl can choose, I don't want to marry a man who takes dowry from me. A man can choose, I don't want to accept dowry. But neither of them is happening. That's why we are still sitting here talking about.
I mean, I guess instead of the brand label, we have letters behind the person, or how many figures of income they have. That's the only difference. Otherwise, it's the same. Really good analogy, I must say, because nothing else will fit the bill the way you have explained it. So I still remember when I had decided to go to India to further study because of my education was interrupted because of the war. And when my father decided to send me abroad to study, it was quite a lot of money I had to pay because I was a foreign student. And the amount of people who advised my parents, what a silly thing to do. You are better off giving it as a dowry and getting her married. Why would you want to send her and spend all this money for a girl to study? And I have not spoken openly about it many times, but I think I did write an article recently which got published, so it's no secret any longer. So I rather say it. But what my father did say is, this is her dowry. She's going to be on her own 2 feet, and she will be self-sufficient, and that will be the way I will be. That is my gift to her. I'm not willing to give anything else. And I think it is exactly what you said. We all have the power to make decisions as parents, as girls, as women. I don't think we should really point the finger to the opposite sex and say it's all their fault. I don't think it's fair.
No, I'm actually agreeing with you in that point, because if there is a family with 2 children, a boy and a girl, the parents are happy to spend money. In some cases, I'm not saying all families, in some cases, in South Asian community, in most cases, the parents are happy to spend as much money and invest as much as possible on son's education and educating him and making him this person that he wants to be. However, the same parents would not choose to do this to their daughter, because they always say to her, well, we'll have to pay for your dowry anyway. We will have to spend the money on your wedding anyway. So therefore, we are not choosing to spend the equal amount of money on your education as we do for your male sibling. This exists. So that's the parental issue here. At the same time, when it comes to a girl, she's happy to let her parents go and shop for her husband based on the money. She's happy, she's allowing this man to be bought for her because he has a qualification, or he has a job that pays 6-figure salary, or is it because he's actually, ticks all the boxes? So it is a two-way traffic, as I said earlier. Just as the boys are looking for us, demanding money, the girls are also letting their parents to shop for a man who has this, ticks all the boxes. And the parents are also, from young age, bringing up the children with this very big disparity. The girls are not allowed to do ABC, whereas the boys are allowed because they are more than willing to spend that money on that. Menaca, it's very great of you to come and speak about it openly here today, about how people spoke about when your father invested in your education. We are all investing in our children's education, but there are some discrimination. Boys are getting invested more than the girls. That's one set. But the saddest thing is, those parents who actually invest equally on both children are still going and shopping for that man. Even after spending all that money, even giving all the best things to them, bringing up with all the best values, teaching them all the good things and bringing them up with qualities, and then say, but when it comes to marriage, allow me to do the shopping. This is where the problem is. This is in the core of the problem, is within the family unit. We need to get out of it. Otherwise, it's very difficult to get rid of this issue.
And also, I cannot understand, like you said, Suja, women or girls who are educated, who are self-sufficient, who approves of this process.
This is the problem because of the societal norm. A girl who is actually educated to a certain level, for example, let's say she's a doctor. If a male doctor marries a female teacher, it's not a problem. However, a female doctor marries a male teacher. Oh, what's wrong with her? The first question. Is there something wrong? Is the chart okay? Has she ticked all the boxes? We start to get this question. Because of that reason, many girls take a back step. They don't want to be seen. They don't want to be viewed as this girl with issues. She hasn't got any issues. She's just a girl with great values. But we can't allow that. We can't accept that because the society raises these questions. Parents won't like, if you go and do this, it's going to cause problem for your younger sister. You can't do this. So it's actually a domino effect. You start on one thing, it affects every single person in the family, and it goes into extended family. This is why many people find it very difficult to come out of this serious issue. We need to stop this. If a female doctor wants to marry a male teacher, let her be. There's nothing wrong with that. Actually, she's the greatest girl about. Let's accept it. Give her the chance to be who she is and who she wants to be. Rather than, oh, wow, can they not afford it? Has she got any problem? Stop that. This is where the problem we are talking about. This is why we are here. I mean, this is a problem that we shouldn't even be talking about in today's era, but we are talking about it because of the societal issues.
But as you exactly said, Suja, it is a domino effect. So if few people brave it and do the right thing, it will be also the domino effect, right?
Well, few people will brave it. There are some girls, I personally know a good friend of mine who clearly said, I am not going to get married to someone who asked for dowry. And she waited and she got married to someone who didn't ask for dowry. I mean, let's not talk about me because that was never going to happen in my book. So that's not even a question. But there are girls who has done that. Problem is, and they're fine. As a couple, they are fine. However, how many girls are ready to do this, or how many parents are going to allow the girl to make that decision? Imagine a girl says, that's it. I am not going to marry a man who asks for dowry. Then the parents will be, how long are you going to sit at home? When are you going to settle down? And if she says, okay, I'm marrying this person because I don't think, dowry is an issue and I accept him for who he is. He's the right compatibility for me. But what would the parents say? Oh, no, you can't do that. That means your younger sister's going to have a problem getting married. So it's a difficult, very, very difficult to step out.
It's a deep-rooted problem.
Deep-rooted problem. And yet we have to. It's about time we do that.
So on one hand, I know that we spoke about the families of the girls and the girls themselves or women themselves. On the other hand, I also feel it has become too sophisticated now. So instead of demanding, you have to give this or you have to give that, they evaluate the family background or the status, whatever you call it, and then they expect a certain amount of things will be given. And if that particular amount or that particular thing is not given, then they are tortured, or they are emotionally abused, or they are given some kind of grief. Do you agree with that, Suja?
Well, the evaluation always happened. That's the first step. They get few possible candidates for their son. And they look at it and they look, okay, who's got what? Whatever, even if they don't give it now, eventually it will come to her. So we'll accept it. So those kind of attitude had always been there. This has been indirectly happening in the background. This is part of the screening process, I would call it. So when they pick a girl, this is one of the screening process. And this has been happening. And unfortunately, when you still have arranged marriage in large numbers, it's bound to happen. Because believe it or not, there are girls saying, we go for arranged marriage because we get all of this. That happens in today's age. People who are very young, the girls say, the reason we are agreeing to arranged marriage is because we will get all of these things given to us to start the life. It's the convenience they're choosing. But unfortunately, obviously, they wouldn't have any experience in a marital life. When they start living together, that's when they realize, oh my God, I've got all of this and still I'm not happy. It's a bit too late. But this is the problem. And as you said, the torture and the consequences of it, that's just unacceptable. And we're still talking about it. It's the saddest thing, but it does happen. Even after giving so much as a dowry, a girl can be subjected to torture at home or domestic violence as a result of dowry issues.
Sure,
it happened for many, many years. It happened in the 60s, it happened in the 70s, but unfortunately, it's still happening now. That's the problem.
Sure. Okay, so, there's a concept, there is a sector of people, even just before we came online, we were talking about this. So people think it was made to protect the women, and that is the right thing. Whether we like it or not, there is a sector in our society who believe in it. So if dowry system was established to support women, then why are we focusing today about abolishing it?
Well, this is the thing. The concept was established to support girls and give what's rightfully theirs. But it's not being practiced for the same reason today. It's being practiced to extort money out of a girl's family in the name of marriage. So the name is still the same, but the concept is still not the same. It's changed. With time, it's evolved. Well, I wouldn't call it as an evolution. It's changed faces, I would say. The shape of it has changed. The name still remains the same.
Yeah.
And now it's actually being practiced to extort money from them. And also, as I said, it's a two-way traffic. As much as the guys are looking for a girl with enough money who can pay as much dowry, on the other hand, girls are also using this as an opportunity to find a man who ticks all the boxes. That's the problem. So that's what's happening today. So that's why we are talking about it. The name of the concept remains the same, but the concept don't remain the same.
Sure. So the question to the girls and the families are, if the money is involved and you give enough and abundance, would the relationship come with a lifetime warranty?
Well, you can't even get a washing machine with 1 year warranty. So how are you going to get lifetime warranty of a relationship just because you paid money? That's not going to happen. I mean, any relationship is going to have ups and downs. That is what relationship is. 10 minutes ago, you can have an argument with a partner shouting out loud. 10 minutes later, you should be able to ask, do you want to go here or do you want a cup of tea? That's life. We should be able to accept that. But just because you brought all this money doesn't mean he's not going to shout at you. You're not going to argue with him. Life is not going to be hunky-dory all the time. That is what we are failing to tell our children. This is what we are failing to tell the younger generation of girls. Just because your dad paid so much money, it doesn't mean you're going to be happy 100% all the time, darling. You're still going to have the same problems of a relationship. Wake up and smell the coffee. That's what we need to tell them. That's what we are not telling them. That's what we are sugarcoating them with. We're actually buying a large bubble wrap and wrapping them around. and
We are selling
expecting
them a
them.
dream which is not there.
Yeah, which is not there, which is not there. And as I said, girls are nowadays choosing arranged marriage over love marriages because they are being given all of this. The few examples, look at it. The guys say, the parents say, oh, we spend so much money bringing up our son. He's educated, he's this, he has all of this. Therefore, asking for this much dowry is not a big deal. Why? She's also educated at the same level. Her parents also spent all the same money. They have also brought her up in the same way. Why aren't you paying her? So these are the questions we need to ask. We need to be honest about it, rather than sugarcoating, just saying, just because we give money, it comes with warranty. As I said, 1 year for washing machine, maybe 5 years for dowry. But then every time when an argument takes place, a girl can throw at his face, my dad bought you for me. How is that going to affect your relationship? Are you going to feel like a man every time when that's thrown at you? Actually, the minute you accepted dowry, you lost that card anyway. However, I'm just asking, in a relationship, if a girl throws at you this statement, would you be able to accept it and live with it?
Good question to ponder. By the time, so let's focus on women now and the girls and the families. Yeah. So we have established there's no need to buy a husband. Actually, that's what you do, right? When you're giving dowry, we have established that. So how is this system still being practiced even in this era, Suja?
How is this practiced?
Because as we spoke, girls are educated now, and we have established there's no need to buy a husband for girls. So why are we still practicing it?
It's because, as I said, there are a few reasons. The parents think by buying this husband who ticks all the boxes, will provide their daughter this safety, security, and happy life. They are a married couple, the parents, they should know better. But they don't. And the girls think having an arranged marriage would allow them to have this happy life. At least I can't feel sorry for them and think they don't know what they're talking about. But the parents should know there is no such thing, that money can buy happiness. But they are allowing that to happen. This is why we are talking about it. From the girl's point of view, the parents think they are providing security or a good life to their daughters, but what they're actually doing is buying a husband. Who, if he can be bought for money by you, he can be bought for money by anybody else. Just a thought. If you can buy, if I can buy something, then somebody else can pay better money. As I said, the house sale. If it's up for sale for 500 and I made an offer for 5,100, it's an extra 10,000, then I'm getting it. So it can be bought. We just have to be honest in accepting that.
Okay, so this is the message for girls and women. For boys and men, I guess the message is don't be sold. So, because if you are sold, you could be treated like any other purchased item.
Absolutely.
What is your thought about it?
I do not want to be the person breaking the news to the world today. But what we have to accept is, if I bought something for money, I would expect it to do exactly what it says on the card that comes with it, the manufacturer details. If the manufacturer details, if there's any defect, I'll call up the manufacturer defect. Okay, so they would get it and replace it, but that can't happen here. So how are we going to deal with it? They are being sold, unfortunately, whether they like it or not, whether they accept it, they are being sold. And unfortunately, when you are being sold, you will be treated like a sale of good. They just have to accept it. But the demands they put on, that's when the problems happen. When this happens, when they are being sold, they know themselves they've done something wrong. And when they expect more, or when they demand more because they think they have an upper hand by having the girl living with them and they are providing this life for her, that's when the domestic violence starts. That's when the depression issues start. That's what led to a girl killing herself. we have to think about it. Not only these people are asking for money to get married to a girl when it's not enough, or when she's not providing any exactly the same amount or any more than what they are already asked for, they are putting the girl in under pressure. They are putting the girl's family under pressure. And this is what the girl's parents bought for her. Do we really need to buy something this painful? You're paying your own money and buying something that's going to cause you trouble for the rest of your life. Do we need that?
I can't see in any other aspect of our life we would do this. Don't you think so?
Absolutely. But as I explained earlier, it's the societal issues. A girl is still unable to make that decision. Oh, I don't want to get married if there's a dowry going to be involved. Or I don't want to marry a person who's asking for dowry. So those are the issues that we are facing at the moment. And these girls should be given that opportunity. The parents who are instilling great values and bringing their daughters up, they are educating them, they are making them independent. Those parents should allow these daughters to make their decisions and choose the person who they want to be with rather than who they can buy.
Sure. And it's not only parents. My humble request is for brothers, sisters, teachers, social workers, all these influencers or in the society, please wake up and just, stop sugarcoating it and see it for what it is and try to eradicate it for good. I really hope in another few years, we don't have to be talking about the same thing in another show.
Well, this is something I can tell you. This is a vicious circle. So, for example, when a girl is getting married, her father or her brother, usually in our culture, pays towards the dowry. And then when the brother is getting married, because he's given everything that he had towards this dowry, he's now starting on zero. So he has two choices. He can either start from scratch and build his life up, or he can find another woman who's going to bring that money, ready-made money, into his life. And he chooses that. So just like he is under pressure from the marriage of his sister, his new wife's brother is under pressure for the same reason. It's a vicious circle. If this brother then takes a stand and says, look, I am not going to put another family through what I've been through, it will stop. There's a break. But how often does that happen? If we think about it, around 80s, accepting dowry was frowned upon. Many men chose not to accept dowry, and they started to make a change. They started to take a stand saying, no, I am not going to accept dowry because I am not going to put another family through what I've been through. But comes 90s, it goes out of the window and they started, hey, oh no, I've been through so much. I've already spent so much time studying. I've already spent so much time working. I've already paid for this, that. I've looked after my sisters. It's time for my time. And I should take dowry. And with time, it increased. It increased to the level at the moment, the amount they are talking is unbelievably high. House, car, so much money, A, B, C, it carries on. The list is endless. So why is this happening today more than it did during the 80s? I'm talking about in the society where the woman is also educated. There are societies still existing, in the rural areas where they actually do not spend much money on education. They have this security net, safety net the parents think that their daughters need. It's happening. But I'm talking about in the society where the girls are equally educated as the boys, there is more dowry now than it was 30, 40 years ago, because it sort of restarted in the last 30 years.
I agree. I think from exchanging a few cattles, now it is Mercedes and BMWs and mansions. It's like it has definitely taken another level.
It has taken another level, and this is where the problem is. Once upon a time, people who are educated, seen as the eyes of the society, they made the right decision. They stood for the right things. Not anymore. Let's not put manners and values and education together. That's no longer the case. The more educated the guy is, the more money he's demanding. That's what's happening. So if he's more educated, if he's got a good job, then he can demand more. And unfortunately, when the girl's parents start to look for a groom for the girl, they don't come and say, oh, do you know anyone who's suitable for my daughter? They come and ask, oh, do you know any educated boys? Or do you know any boys who's in good job? Well, I know an educated boy, but he's good for nothing. Are you all right with that? He doesn't want to work. He's very well educated, but he doesn't want to work. He doesn't want to wake up early in the morning. He doesn't know how to respect a woman. He's there. He's educated. Take him. We have to change our perspective before we start telling other people to change their concept and perspective. This is where we're going wrong. So we have to take a stand. This is, as I said, during the 60s, maybe it was norm for the parent, like brothers and fathers, to give dowry to ensure their daughter settles down. But if your daughter is equally qualified, independent girl, why are you expecting her to pay dowry? Why are you actually buying a husband for her? You can't buy everything. You can't buy happiness. So why are you buying a husband?
Sure. Two things comes to mind listening to you. Yes, women are educated, and we totally agree. Some of the areas in rural areas, some or not. Some women are not educated. But do you think, regardless whether they're educated or not, we have to stop it so that the society and the families at a personal level will start, focusing on making each and every woman self-sufficient? Because right now they think this is the safety net. You give the dowry and marry to a rich person or educated person, or however you want to put it. But if that equation is taken away, I have a feeling suddenly they will wake up and they say, okay, fine, now every woman has to become self-sufficient. It doesn't have to be always degrees. There are so many other ways to become self-sufficient.
Well, Menaca, the problem is there are already self-sufficient, independent, qualified, working girls existing, and they are still paying dowry. That is the problem. So that actually hasn't opened the eyes. That hadn't made the necessary change. In fact, as I said, even if the girl is more educated, they need to find an equally educated man, and therefore they have to pay more dowry. That's the problem. So we are not actually getting rid of it. Even the educated girls, they have to take a stand. They have to take a stand saying, I am not going to marry someone who's expecting money from me. And then is the family ready to allow that to happen? Let me give you an example. If there is two tennis players, a male and a female, they will ask the male, oh, when are you going to win the French Open? Or when are you going to win the Australian Open or whatever? If there's a female, they ask, so when are you going to get married and settle down? What makes them think that she's not settled down being a #1 tennis player in the world? That's the attitude we have. This is the thing. That is the attitude we have. And until those kind of things, dowry is a small concept. It is built with so much different issues and concepts and perspectives that are against women. They one by one, they have to be eradicated for this concept that's sitting in the middle to fall down. Because there are so many other concepts holding it up. Safety net, ensuring I just want my daughter to be married and happy. She's married, is she happy? That's what we fail to look. Parents, as soon as she's married, their job is done, she's happy, she's fine. That's where the problem. We have to think above and beyond just marriage. If the girl is independent, self-sufficient, and she wants to live on her own, who are we to stop her? But we won't allow that. And that's when the dowry gets upper hand.
I think it is such a valid point, because I think I spoke about this not on this platform, another platform. I was hosting another platform for another organization, and we were speaking about it, and only 12% of women, even in the United Kingdom, come to the CEO level or on the leadership role in the corporate world, mainly because of these ideologies. And people think if it is women, they are, they're taken for granted. They have this concept in their mind, like you said, that they don't want to hold these positions, or they're okay just sitting at home and looking after the children and family. There's nothing wrong in it. I'm all for it. Please feel free, give up your career, sit at home. Hats off to you. But for those women who do want to become CEOs, who do want to hold that leadership roles, who do want to become the number one tennis player, like you said, there has to be opportunity and no pressure, extra pressure given to them not to do it.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Dowry is a small, very small concept that gets an upper hand because there are so many other issues in the society that allows men to have an upper hand over a girl. And because it always comes down to saying marriage is everything. Marriage is the be all and end all of everything. Because we give marriage such importance, dowry has an upper hand. And always it's putting the girls under pressure, the girl's family under pressure. That's where the problem is. It all, as I said, becoming working. And some women get married and the husband thinks, I don't want you to work anymore. These things happen. So there are so many different aspects of this issue. But when we talk about dowry, we have to accept this is happening because we are allowing the men to have the upper hand, continuing to have the upper hand, two equal genders. Get over it. There is nothing big or small about it. No one's higher or lower about it. Two equal. No one needs to prove that they are better or she's better or he's better. It's equal. Why should there be a financial transaction in a relationship? That's the question none of us answered. Nobody's answering. Why
in a bigger thing, Suja, what we are talking about is a patriarchal society, right?
Yes.
You know, because I don't think, we in this era, it pains me actually to even say that we have to be sitting here and wasting everybody's time and energy and effort and talking about this topic after all these years of modernization and development and economic reform, and we are still talking about this.
As I said, if we accept the concept of dowry that was used for the reason it was used back in the days, I'm talking about 200, 300 years ago, fine. The parents are allowed to give what's rightfully their daughters so that they don't have to have issues with their male siblings after the demise of their parents. Simple, easy, acceptable. That's up to the parents. The point when becomes an issue is when it's demanded. And after marriage, when it's demanded even more. When the girl is put under pressure because she didn't bring enough. When the girl is driven to the level of killing herself because she didn't bring enough. That's where it's a problem.
Sure. It's all about choices, isn't it?
It is choice.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even believe like they have to give the girl or a boy or anyone. Parents have worked hard. It's their money. They can either give, they can give 100% to the charity. It's their choice. It's their money. I mean, that's my take on it.
In fact, there is a law in Sri Lanka, which was introduced to me by one of the fellow platform users. I believe it was Kandi Madile. She introduced it to me last time when I spoke. Surya and I went and read about it, Mrs. Surya Kumar, and I went and read about it. And it says, according to that specific rule that only applies to people coming from the north of Sri Lanka, the dowry system is if the mother brought properties into the marriage, she can only give it to the girls. If the father brought properties into the marriage, he can only give it to the boys. If they both brought a property together after marriage, they can give it to whoever they want. So that's one type. There are so many different customs and laws in Sri Lanka for dowry. There is Kandyan law, there's Morse law. And also in the East, it's called the Kudi. In that concept, the house of the parents goes to the eldest daughter. The reason they do that, believe it or not, it actually says, so the daughter gets joint childcare and that there is no domestic violence. This was thought out during 1700. And this was being practiced so long. But today, we are doing everything wrong, everything against the custom, and we're just focusing on the money. Where did it all go wrong? Somewhere along the line. We have to think about it. We had so much good practice in place to protect each and everyone's rights, be it the boy or the girl. But somewhere along the line, it was all reshaped. all defaced. And today we have a system that purely in favor of the guys, unfortunately, at the same time, purely allowing the girls to make the wrong decisions. That is the situation we are in.
Yeah, but I think it puts two different kind of pressures, in my opinion. It puts too much pressure on boys because, not everybody want to have like a long list of letters behind them, and they are content without making six figures, but that kind of pressure, because then you won't get a good girl if you don't. That is for boys. And for women, if you don't have enough money to get in the bank account to give, you're not going to get a good a particular kind of husband. So I think it puts different kind of pressures for both the sexes. And I think it's time to stop this and allow people to be who they want to be.
It's acceptable what you're saying. At the same time, a guy who's only, as I said, a female doctor cannot marry a male teacher, whereas a male doctor can easily go and marry a female teacher. No one would say anything about it. Like that, the guys can choose to be who they are and still find a girl with money. But the girls, on the other hand, they don't have to have anything but money. This is the wrong concept I'm talking about. There are so many girls who are absolutely clever. They worked so hard. They come from really difficult situation, but they broke all the barriers, worked hard to get where they are. And then they turn around and look, I'm 30 now. If I want to get married, I need money. Why? Why are we in that position? She's well educated. She should be able to get married to someone who she likes.
But at the same time, do you think also there's an expectation for guys? Are they happy to get married to someone who is more educated or have more money? And I think it is also a pressure, right? And because if they sometimes might be men are not accepting that as well, do you think?
What? I'm sorry, I did not follow that.
Sometimes I think men also have this social pressure, or they have come with this belief that they have to get married to someone who are less educated or somehow less well off in some way for them to feel better.
Well, if they want to feel better, they can feel better without having any pressure. We can all feel better without having any pressure. There is no question about it. A man who decides, okay, I'm not going to get married with the dowry, he can feel better from that second alone. He can just start from there. He doesn't need anything else. So if you are a doctor and you think I should only marry a doctor, then that's the pressure that you are putting on yourself.
Sure.
So that pressure is more towards the girls than the boys, because as I said, when the girl marries someone who is less educated than her, she's questioned. Her qualities are questioned.
Sure. Thank you, Suja. So, who is to blame for this ongoing practice of this system?
The society. We the people. We are the ones to be blamed. Nobody else. It's just us. Look at each other. Let's put our hands up and say, how many of you took dowry? How many of you paid dowry for your daughters?
And how many of you wanted your parents to give dowry?
Yeah, exactly. So it's us. We are the ones who's making it difficult for everybody else. Just because we went through something, it doesn't mean everybody else has to do it. Let people be themselves. But we can't. We are the society of, we judge people. We are so judgmental. We tell each other, oh my God, why did she even do that? Why did she get married to him? We are the people who speak like that. So we have to start from within our core heart and say, oh my God, what a brilliant girl. She decided not to marry that guy because he asked dowry, and she chose to marry someone she believes who's right for her. How many of us are willing to say that or accept that? But it's easier for us to say, why did she marry him? That's the problem. We have to get out of this habit. That's the important thing.
I totally agree with you, because I think it's about supporting each other, celebrating each other, and allowing people to be who they want to be and make the decision what they want to.
No one needs to support or celebrate. Just allow them, let them be, for God's sake. That would be the first step. Let them be. Let them do what they want to do. Don't judge them. Don't frown upon them. Allow them to be who they are, and it will easily flow in. But until that is allowed, I say we are not allowing people to live their lives. We are judging. Even the parents won't allow their daughters to make that decision.
So as you can see, this is a topic I am quite keen to talk about, and I can see the time has almost come. So
I know.
As a speaker, I'm going to put to you the question, how are we going to abolish it, or how can we abolish it for good?
As I said, it has to start with each and every individual. You should make a stand. The guys should make a stand saying, I am not going to ask for dowry. And the girls should make the stand to say, I am not going to marry someone who asks for dowry. That is the only way it can even begin to spell A of abolishing. Then we have to convince, or the parents has to accept, I am not going to sell my son, or I'm not going to buy a husband for my daughter. They are the second circle of that. Third circle, stop judging. Let them get married and live their lives. So it's not going to happen overnight. It won't happen just like that. It's a long, lengthy process. As I said, it existed for one reason. It turned out to be something else these days. So we've come a very long way. Instead of evolving and getting better, we've got worse in this concept. So we have to each and every individual have to make a decision. I am not going to accept dowry. I am not going to give dowry. That's where it starts. And the parents have to accept it. That's where it will start.
Sure. Thank you, Suja. And I know because I lived in Karnataka, South India for 10 years, and there is a sector of them, they're called Kurgis. There's a Kurg place. And actually in that society, if somebody takes dowry, they're frowned upon. They feel that something is wrong with that guy if they take dowry. And I really hope and pray that happens to us, slowly but surely. But, hopefully, at least in the next 5 years, no one has to sit and discuss this again, ever. And hopefully we can eradicate for good. And, I am optimist. So let's.
Well, you're an optimist, but I'm going to be realistic. I am so passionate about it. I'm against it. I will fight till, as I said, the word dowry doesn't exist for me. If someone comes to me with that, it just doesn't. I actually have said that to one of my friends during the wedding marriage arrangement, and something came about, and I said, if I had known that word was used, I would have said, go get married. Don't ever expect me to turn up to your wedding. I openly said that. And I said that to the groom as well. I actually said it to the groom, not the girl. The girl is my friend. So I did say that if there is a word of dowry being used, then I don't want to know. And if you want to still get married to him, be my guest. But I wouldn't be part of it. So that's not going to happen. However, this concept is not going anywhere. Unfortunately, that's the truth. We have to accept it. Until guys and girls make their stand, it's not going anywhere. There are so many girls openly accepting they are going for arranged marriage because they are being given this. The guys are not choosing to, even if they fall in love with someone, they're not expressing it because they want dowry. It's all happening. And that parents are not even in that picture yet. So it's not going anywhere, unfortunately. It's going to be here for a very long time. I mean, in India, there is a law, Prohibition of Dowry Act 1961. It came into force 1st of May 1961. It actually says anyone who gives, takes dowry directly, indirectly, or anyone who abates the cause of dowry will be punished with minimum of 5 years imprisonment. We are right. Look what's happening.
Sure.
So it's not going away. That was 60 years ago, and we're still sitting here talking about it. I mean, in Sri Lanka, there was a time an organization tried their very level best to abolish it. They put so much pressure into it. They tried their best. Even they were not able to do it. Because they said this concept, it's a very nice word that was used. They said the concept of dowry is not egalitarian. They tried their best. They wanted equality. Nope. Here we are, still paying, still taking, still talking about it.
And still celebrating it sometimes.
Oh, wow, yes. Oh, yeah, that there is a club for it. I paid this much to my daughter, then I better pay extra more then. That's a club. So Yes, it's not, even though you're an optimist and you said, I hope we don't have to talk about in 5 years. And unfortunately, I believe we will be talking about in 5 years, and it will be worse, because we recently, last year, 2019, there was a case that was all over the news in Sri Lanka about a girl who killed herself as a result of the dowry issues. Her family gave her 1 crore worth of dowry, yet she killed herself. Well, where's this husband that's worth 1 crore? He didn't do a good job, did he? Think, take a moment, pause, think, is it worth it? Is it worth your daughter's life? Think.
I mean, if this talk doesn't, make you sit and pause and think, I don't know what else will. So my humble request is, really just think about it. Obviously, as Suja said, the law came long before I was born. I really hope, at least before I take my last breath, I can see a change and it's, gone for good. That's all I can hope for. And thank you so much, Suja. As ever, you were candid and your message was very powerful. And, it's a pleasure to have you as always as a speaker. So thank you, a huge thank you. Over to Julie Tushingham to give the word of thanks.
Wow, what a powerful and controversial topic. Thank you so much, Suja. I am learning about this all the time, and I'm sure so many in our audience are too. Thank you for, as Menaca said, your candidness and openness and honesty. It was an excellent description of life today, and also in dealing with dowry, and also how many moving parts there are to sustaining this ancient tradition, which has evolved into what I hear as a kind of a trade, a very materialistic trade that seems to assume some kind of social standing by the size of the dowry exchanged, etc. It's shocking. And I too hope that before I draw my last breath, I agree with Menaca that we are not talking about this anymore. But thank you for being so open. Thank you everyone for joining us. And thanks, Menaca, for asking me to deliver the vote of thanks. Well done, Suja.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julie. I couldn't think of a better person, because first time when we spoke about it quite a few months back, and Julie didn't know what dowry was. And she said, what is it you're talking about? And so, I thought we have to enlighten Julie what happens. So we obviously spoke about, I'm sure like every show, she's learning something new about our culture, about what happens. As any other culture, we have excellent things. We are very good in hospitality, being one for sure. Like that, I think it is also, this show is all about inclusion and diversity, because I'm big on it. And I think it is all about learning about each other, and also learning the good things about each other's culture, not only the drawbacks and the painful things, but also the strengths and weaknesses, and becoming a better society for all. And that's all we can do. So thank you so much, Julie. It is really good that you accepted this, give a vote of thanks for today. And what can I say, Suja? We cannot find a more powerful speaker to speak about this. And I'm sure we will have more topics to discuss on this platform with you. A huge thank you for taking your time and coming and speaking on this very challenging topic. For people who are on the Zoom, please hold on. So you will be able to put the questions straight to Suja. It took so much longer than usual, but this is a topic I think it deserves the time it has been given. For people who are listening to us on Facebook, next time, same place, we will be celebrating the completion of 1 year of Meet Menaca talk show. And this is the time and chance for you as a community member to join us. And please let us know, and so drop us an email. We have a WhatsApp group community, we have a Facebook group community, or even on our YouTube, just drop us a message if you want to contribute something, and we will consider it and we'll put something together. So thank you so much for allowing us to grow so far and being part of our journey to complete the 1 year. But for today, the time has come to say goodbye. Until we see you, same time, same place next week. Stay safe, be happy, and keep smiling.